Thank you. Okay. So we are going to begin the talk by trying to understand the magnum opus of the eternal now. Does anybody here know what magnum opus means?
Isn't it like the masterpiece of an artist?
Very good. Yes. The masterpiece. The masterpiece of the eternal now. So let's look into that. So when you think about the masterpiece of an artist, what do we think about right away? In the spiritual sense of things, what can we take from that? Who would be the artist? What do you think?
The spirit?
The spirit. Very good. I think he read my lecture before I came in. Were you meditating and you saw the whole thing? You just came in? All right.
I wish.
Okay, so the masterpiece is ourselves, right? We're going to understand more of that. So the hidden male, but before we understand that, let's talk about the anima or the animus. Before we understand what we are going to get into, I want us to understand a little bit about the animus and the animus. The anima and the animus, right? The hidden male and female within the self. Each person lives both male and female lives. Consciousness memory of this is not retained to prevent an over-identification of the individual with his present sex. Within the male, there resides an inner personification of femaleness. Did you guys understand this? Yes? Any questions? Here it's saying that in this case that in the case of a male characteristics, right? Every male, every person, a male has female characteristics within themselves. And when it's a male, the female characteristics is called anima. This personification of femaleness is the male, in the male, is the true meaning of what Jung called anima, right? Do you guys understand? That we are not specifically, all of us, males or females, right? Per se. That we should understand and identify our personas as both, because we do have both. Every female has the animus and every male has the anima, right? And I know that Jung, I don't know if you ever heard about Jung, if you understand what I'm saying. Who was Jung? Anybody knows? Go ahead, Luigi.
You call Jung?
Jung.
Yeah, Jung, he was a psychiatrist, very famous. And, but he studied more this side of the psychic, the spiritual psychic of humanity.
Exactly. And he was a very famous psychiatrist. And I took, Go ahead.
He split with Freud. He called Freud and he split because we don't agree with that with Freud.
He was a student of Freud.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of disagreements, right? Yes. Very good. Thank you. Anybody else? No? I think that first of all, the information that I'm sharing, a lot of it is from the book of Seth Speaks, it's called. So Seth was this spirit, and he lives in the 5th density. So we are now on 3rd density, correct? And between 3rd density, there's 4th, and in between 3rd and 4th, that's where the spiritual world, when we disincarnate, everything stays there. We stay there because we keep reincarnating, as far as we know, right? Go ahead.
What's in the 4th density?
What's in the 4th density? He can explain better.
On the 4th density, of love. It's when we reach unconditional love.
Yes.
That's where we're going to be in fourth density.
Yes. Well, there are, as far as we know, 8 densities, right? But within the third density, there are many layers, right? So this spirit, Seth, was from the 5th density. And Jane Roberts, this writer, the one that wrote Seth Speaks, her and her husband, she was a poetry writer. She was just writing books, regular books, as far as she knew. And one day her husband said, I think they needed to write something. She needed to write something different from a publisher. Her publisher was asking her for something else. And her husband suggested that she write something about spirituality, but she did not know. And she was like, what do you mean? I'm not even spiritual. What are you talking about? She told him, right, Luigi? And she said, I don't know what you're talking about. How am I going to write something about what I don't know anything about? And he said, why don't we buy a Ouija board? And she goes, what? And he goes, let's buy a Ouija board and do an experience, an experiment. Let's try and see where we go. And they decided to do it. They got a Ouija board. And experiencing, they started, trying to talk to a spirit or whatever it was. They followed the rules of how it said it was supposed to be used. And they followed the rules. And one day, I think it was on their first try, Seth came through, the spirit, and he started, and she looked at it, she said, and she thought her husband was moving, and her husband thought she was moving his hand purposely. When you do, I don't know, anybody here ever played with the Ouija board? I have, but the old Brazilian Ouija board, you know what I'm talking about, right? The cup, and we write down the letters, right? I played with that when I was little. And then I was so scared. Things happened that I never wanted to play with it again. Anyways, but she was thinking was her husband. Her husband thought, that's her, and they started doing it, and they started taking it more seriously when she realized that everything that they were about to point to, every letter, she already was getting the message telepathically before, like a second before it said something, before said something there, she already knew what he was going to say. And then her husband started writing. He started writing everything that Seth was saying. It wasn't in this book was it this book that this happened? It was, because they have a bunch of different books, but this is one of the 32 books, yeah. So this is just one of the books. But this is how it started for her. This is how I just described that it started. So, and then she started writing, and she started receiving and getting messages telepathically. It was almost like it was him speaking, actually, I guess, through her, right? So this personification of femaleness in the male is the true meaning of what Jung called anima. The anima in the male is therefore the psychic memory and identification of all the previous female existences in which the inner self has been involved. So the reason why I wanted to talk about anima, and that called my attention a lot after I heard many chapters in this book. I like to listen to books. Does anybody here like to listen to books? I like listening, and then I also buy the physical book because I like reading too. I don't know, I'm crazy. And when I have time, of course. But the reason why I decided to talk about the anima, because I found that there's so much into the anima that Jung did not talk about, that Seth talks about, right? And let's finish reading this, and then I'll talk a little bit more. It contains within the knowledge of the present's male, past female histories, and the intuitive understanding of all the female qualities with which the personality is hereditarily provided. So what they're saying here is that the animus within each of us, or the anima, is what connects our personalities, which we have our personality here in this life that we are focusing on. That's why we are here right now. We have different personalities. What we called past, present, and future is all the same. What Seth says is that we live in the multi-dimensional world, meaning everything is happening. Did I say it right? Everything is happening simultaneously, right? So in our minds, the past exists to identify, so we can identify what happened a year ago. But the truth is what happened past life. But reality is, what he says, is that past life doesn't exist. What exists is the quantum reality, which is everything that we believe in past, that we saw in our past lives, is happening simultaneously with what is happening in this life. That's what he says. So, and the reason why I got so interested in this is because I am a quantum healing regressionist. I'm a hypnotist, and I do this. I'm a therapist, and I do this for a living. So what got me more even interested in his material and his books is that everything makes so much more sense to me now, right? What I call past life, I don't call it actually. I've never called past life regression. Past life regression, I call it quantum healing regression. And I didn't even know when I was calling it quantum healing regression, why I was calling quantum healing regression. Seriously, I didn't even know. But now I understand why whatever spirits that I communicate telepathically with when I write and when I'm doing my thing said quantum healing regression. That's what I wrote, and that's what I call one of my methods and that I use in practice. It's called quantum healing regression. And quantum healing regression is when you bring the person to their past lives, right? But the reality is, I'm not bringing them, they're put into a trance. The subject is put into a trance. When you go into a trance, you have access to your past lives, meaning what you have already lived, and you are able to see experiences in this life, and deeper into that, you are able to heal the energies that you are bringing to this reality. And what Seth says is that we can bend reality. He says that we can change the past, we can change the future, right? I do quantum healing regression, quantum healing progression. And I'm going to give you a little bit of an example so you can understand what I'm saying. So I went to Brazil. I was in Brazil not long ago. And my brother said, oh, I want you to do my wife's regression. They were so interested. And I said, sure. And I put her in a trance, and we did the regressions. She saw some of her past lives, and it was very interesting. But then, all of a sudden, she says, wait a minute, I'm in the room. Valentina's my niece. Valentina's only 8 years old. And she says, Valentina's a lot bigger. She's 12, 13 now. And she said she's holding a baby. And she said, wait a minute, Pedro is holding another, Pedro's my brother, holding another baby. And she said, and I'm holding another baby. They're my babies. I had triplets. I'm going to have triplets, she said. And she was crying. And then she said that, and Pedro was right next to me, filming everything because he wanted to film the whole progression thing. And he was filming everything, and he said, ask her about her mother. Why isn't her mother there? Because her mother lives with them, and she's very present in their lives. She smokes a lot. And, you know, I'm distracted. It's my family. I'm all excited with what I'm seeing, what I heard, what I'm listening to. And then I said, how about your mom? You know, because I usually wouldn't do that, honestly. But then she started crying. And she said, my mom is not here. She died. She had cancer. And she knew already everything that happened. And then she started crying. She said, I told her to stop smoking. I've told her so many times. And then I had to come in and say, you know, the reason why you're seeing this is because you can change this reality. You are able to change it. Bring her to the doctor, start treating her, have her stop smoking already so this doesn't happen, because we can do that, right? We can do that in many different levels. So I know you guys might think I'm crazy, but you know, who thinks I'm crazy so far? Nobody? Donnie said she thinks I'm crazy. So, you know, it just, yeah, what could do? This just resonates with everything that I do. And I was so happy to see and understand in a deeper level, right? Because when you are able to experience things, but you cannot explain or understand in a deeper level like this, because this is a completely, because when people ask me, Roberta, what is a regression? I used to say, what is a quantum healing? What do you, I used to say, well, I bring you to your past lives. You can read the energies, scan your bodies there, like clearly. You can see the energies that you are bringing to this life that is holding you back from moving forward, like energies like fear. You know, let's say you cannot ride a plane. We go back there. You've died in a plane accident. Usually, you know, you have panic. You can't drive a car. Usually, you died in a car accident. We go back. We see the energy where they're located in your bodies, your physical, emotional, and spiritual bodies, and we can remove that energy, and you can see the energy being removed. So now you come back, you're like, Roberta, I can drive. You know, it happens so many times with my patients. But that's what the reason why we do quantum healing, for no other reason, right? Because the curiosity to see what you were, that's not a big deal. You know why? Because we've been so many things. We've been personalities, our personalities, right? We've been so many different personalities. We've had so many different lives already. For us to be here today, we've had to experience so much already, right? So the deal with the quantum healing is for healing, right? It's to remove the energies that are still stuck in your energy fields that we are bringing from these past lives. And now I'm not gonna say, now I can explain better. Now I know it's happening simultaneously. That's why we are still so affected by these energies, right? So now it gave me a new light into explaining what I do. So I love it. So the anima represents the necessary initial inwardness, the brooding, caring, intuitive, inside-turning characteristics, the inward focusing from which creativity comes. So it's through the animas, the anima. The motive behind the animas is the desire and necessity to tune into other forces that are supremely powerful. So it's the animas and the anima in us that connects us to all that we've been and all that we will become, because we were already. And the reality is, this is just a personality that we are living. This is just a dream. This is just an illusion. And it's when we go to sleep and we have dreams that are so real, places that we've never been before, people we've never seen, even ourselves. We see ourselves as females when you are male. When you are female, you see yourself as a male in the dream. Anybody ever experienced this before? No? Have anybody here ever experienced having a dream in a place that you've never been before?
Oh, yeah.
With people you've never been before? Okay. And now that you have tonight this awareness that you are able to dream and see yourself as a female and a male, because maybe you did see yourself, if you're a male, in a female in a dream, but you just didn't recognize and accepted that it was you because you didn't have this awareness. Now that you have the awareness, maybe you will have a dream and seeing a man doing something, and you woke up, you thought he was a man. Why did I see this man? Now you're going to identify that personality. You're going to understand it was you because now you have that awareness. We only know things that we are aware about. If we are not aware, it brings confusion, right? And then we wake up, oh my God, I had this dream, this man I never saw, I don't understand. Yes?
There is a movie, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once,
Okay.
that shows exactly what you're talking
Oh,
about.
I'm sure they've read all these books,
No,
right?
yeah, but it's a movie.
Yeah.
Someone,
Yeah, it's very good. So,
Yeah? What is the name of it?
Movie that won the Oscar last year.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Oh, maybe I want to watch that.
You should.
Hers is very good.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Okay. So there's no beginning, there's no end, no depth to fall, no height to ascend. There's only this moment, this flicker of light that illuminates nothing but oh, so bright. For we are the spark that flutters in space, consuming an eternity of moments' grace. For today is tomorrow and present. Did it cut? Uh-huh. So beautiful. And present, I have it on my phone.
She's gonna fix it.
You gonna fix it? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
She's gonna fix it. Just one second.
It's a poem written by James. Today is tomorrow and present is past. Nothing exists and everything will last. There's no beginning, there was no end, no depth to fall, no height to ascend. There's only this moment, this flicker of light that illuminates nothing but oh, so bright. For we are the spark that flutters in space, consuming an eternity of one moment's grace, of a moment's grace. For today is tomorrow, and present and past. Nothing exists, and everything will last. Isn't it cool? Yeah?
Yeah.
You guys want to take pictures? You can take pictures. Yeah, I loved it when I saw it. Jane Roberts. And she is the writer of this book that I'm talking about, this material, Seth. It's so many books, but yeah. So I think it's so important that we bring awareness and we stay open-minded to new information, because carrying old information only keeps us stuck and it holds us back from progressing, right? Because the ideal thing here as spiritists is the understanding and the awareness of progressing. And progressing, from what I've learned from my guru there, Luigi.
There's no guru.
Progressing has a lot to do with not so much what we know, because we know nothing. You know, we think we know so much. We don't know anything, nothing. And from my experiences in life, being a therapist and working with people and having to read so much, you know what? At the end of the books, you can sometimes not even remember one phrase, one line of the book. You know, knowledge, book knowledge is not, believe me, so important as experience knowledge, right? So when we experience things, like doing this quantum healing progressions and regressions that I do, helped me so much to experience these things, you know, because it's so interesting. The, the last progression last week that I did, the woman had an issue here in this life that she wanted to see and she wanted to go back to, of what happened to her here. And we did go back, and it was so interesting. And the day that she said to me, Roberta, I had a Reiki master, very good friend of mine. She was working on me, and I paid her monthly, and she would come every week, 2 sessions in my house to do Reiki, she said. But this day, this one day, when she came in, she said after that day, after that night, that same day, I had a panic attack. It seemed like a weight laid on my chest, a heavy weight, and I couldn't explain. I went to the hospital. I thought I was having a heart attack. When I got there, they did all the exams, everything, and they said, I'm sorry, but you don't have anything. This was a panic attack. And she said, I don't understand what came true. I don't understand what happened, but I would like to see that. I would like to go back to that day and to see what happened. So we went back to that day, and it was so interesting. She was able to, when you are in a trance in this way, through a quantum level, you can see everything inside and out. You go back to a specific experience, and you can see the physical of the experience, but also the spiritual part of the experience. It's so interesting. So she was able to see when she was doing the Reiki, am I saying it right? Giving her the Reiki thing, the energy, that a spirit came through. And he said there was an opening, and I came through, and I'm here, and I like your energy, and I'm the one that is here. And I'm the one that is making you feel this way because I'm anxious, and that's why you're feeling anxious. We asked his name, and we started talking to him, and I explained to him that yes, that she's also a healer. She works with energy as well. And I explained to him that she was very happy to see him there, and she said she was. And I said, we are very happy that you are here. We are very happy that we are able to help you tonight, because that's why you're here. We are going to help you. And he listened to us, and we were able to show him the spirituality all around him, waiting for him, that he had family, that he had friends that were waiting for him. And somehow we were able to help him make the passage and go with the spirituality that was helping us there, and go and leave this person, leave her energy field. So then we, worked on her energy, and she was feeling great afterwards. So it was a great experience. It was a really good experience. So with quantum healing, you can do so much. It's not only about your past lives, it's about this life. We went through different experiences within that as well. So opening our minds, opening our understanding, allowing ourselves to at least give a chance and ask questions and be curious and be acceptant and open to other things that we never thought was possible is the way to go. Right? Do you guys agree? I know that Spiritism sometimes, I don't think it was what they wanted from Spiritism, but I think the people in it and everybody that came in it, like any other religion, tried to, because Spiritism, I know it's not a religion, but in many places it has become very religious, very strict, and I don't think that's healthy. I think everything in moderation and balance is the healthy way to go, right? And the more we judge, the less we know. So We create where we vibrate. What we call reality is just one of our many realities. Our prime identity, our inner core, our highest selves, is the God of all our personalities. We have countless personalities. Our personalities, the fragment of our our whole God selves, are living many lives simultaneously, living independently lives. We are the God, the creator of our personalities that are all existing simultaneously. Time does not exist as we perceive it as a sequence of moments. So time is not a sequence of moments as we perceive it. That's not time. All time happens now. So everything is happening now. So the inner core of our being is more than the sum of all our reincarnational personalities. Personalities are simply the visions of ourselves. We create these personalities to experience reincarnational cycles. Why do we want to experience reincarnational cycles? Why?
So we can learn.
So we can learn? What else? What else?
So we can pay whatever karmic debts we might have, and perhaps help our families heal from traumas or grievances from past lives, to help them, show them the way to move forward from those things that happened to them or that perhaps they did to others.
Okay, okay. What else?
To be aware.
To become aware. Why do we want to relive? Why do we want to come back here so much? Very good. What else?
I think it's for us to do something for ourselves too. I think that's the main thing. We miss a step, like if when you have a sequence of things, you miss a step, so this is a time for you to catch up.
To enjoy life. Yeah, because imagine, if we are gods, right? We are not this personality here. We are gods. And we are just experiencing. We are the creator. We created so many different personalities that are existing simultaneously because we want to experience, right? That's how the God within us wants to experience things, through our personalities. We want to live it all, right? And then when we are tired of living it all, what happens?
We take a break.
Where? Where do we take a break?
In the fifth density.
The fifth density.
Oh, that would be great. I would love to take a break there. I would love to take a break in fifth density. I would never come back here. I think we take breaks in between the fifth density. I think we go in between fourth and third, and that's where we take the break. But if that is what you meant, like when we disincarnate, I see when I'm doing regressions, people disincarnating, and they go meet with their loved ones, with people they know, and people that they have met before. They go in between the third and fourth density, and over there, there's all that we create. If you believe in the umbral, you're going to go there. If you believe in heaven, that's where heaven is too. If you believe that you are going to be in prison because you deserve and you're mean, you're going to go to this ugly place in hell, in umbral, and you're going to go there because you know what? You create your reality. And if you change that belief system, you will never go to hell because hell only exists within your minds. Hell does not exist. It's a creation. It's an individual thing. You create umbral because you think you did bad and you're going to go to umbral, you're going to go to umbral. I'm sorry. I know some people don't agree with me, but that is what I've seen. Because look, how can I do regressions, quantum healing regressions, and see these people disincarnated? Because I bring them to the last day of that life. And I see them, they see, right? They see themselves disincarnating, and they tell me. And I see people from Japan, Russia, Brazil, Spanish, people that don't even know each other, and they're all telling me the same stories. They're making it up? No, it's what happens. Some people go to Umbral because they believe that Umbral exists when they disincarnate. Some people go straight to meet their families because they believe that's what's going to happen after they disincarnate. Some people that I've seen went to a place they'd never seen, a beautiful place. They were in a different, I don't know, they met with their higher selves, you know. I saw you raising it.
So you said these regressions that you do, that you help people glimpse into the last moments of their previous lives. What if they suffered violent deaths?
They see it. They see everything. And I did a regression.
Can that be traumatic for them?
No, it's the opposite. It's healing. Very healing. I did a regression in this woman, right? She went to a past life where, you know, back then when men, if they didn't like their women anymore, they would put them in a, like a crazy hospital, right? They would just throw their wives or their kids when they were tired of them. They'll just throw them in there forever. They die in there. She was one of them. She went back to a life that her family threw her in one of those hospitals because she had a lot of money. They want to take her money. And she wasn't crazy, but she went a little, you know, it disturbed her energy field in this life. So when she came back in this life, she was disturbed. She is. I mean, not anymore. She's good now. She was having emotional issues, very severe depression, delusions, sometimes hallucinations. And she went everywhere, and she was told that she could never be healed and that she had to take medication. So we did regressions, many regressions with her. We did more than 20 regressions with this woman. And one of the past lives that she went back to this life. And when she disincarnated, she saw herself getting out of the body, you know. Because that's what she believed, right? She was from another spiritual center I used to go to. And she believed that, you know, after you disincarnate, you go to Umbral and you suffer. So if you are not good, if you are mean. So many things happened to her in there, in that life. And she disincarnated and she went to Umbral. And she described Umbral. And she said she was there and she cried in agony. And she was suffering a lot. And she went to this place of Umbral that they were being really mean to her. She was being burned or something. And she stayed in that place. So, you know, I helped her get out of it and understand that she didn't have to stay there and that she could be healed. And then after that traumatic event that they see, what I do is I have the person scan their bodies, physical, mental, and spiritual bodies, and we remove the energy that she was bringing from that confusion, from that life to this life. That's why she was struggling. So we removed the energy and we kept removing because it's many lives. We repeat the problem. The only problem is we keep repeating the same mistakes. And we don't even have to change lives to repeat the same mistakes. In this life, we keep repeating the same mistakes. How many times we found relationships? Oh, I got married, now I'm going to divorce this man, he's not good. You find another man, the same thing. The same exact, even the way he laughs is the same way. Because we keep repeating the same patterns. Why do we keep repeating the same patterns? Who knows? Tell me, anybody?
That's what we're attracted to.
Why? Why are we attracted?
Lack
That's
of
I think that's the energies, that's there.
The energy. Mm-hmm.
sometimes lack of personal accountability. People don't. It's easier. It's more convenient to blame other people's for our lives' problems. So many times people don't learn from their own mistakes, so they never grow, never develop, they never move past it.
But
it's always someone else's fault.
But none of us. That's why we're still here. We are not learning. The learning is very little. None of us are learning. We think we are. We're not. We are repeating the same mistakes. And believe me, if I sit with you for 30 minutes, I'll show you. that what I'm talking about is true. That's it. We are repeating the same mistake. How many times I've repeated the same mistakes, and I continue to repeat the same mistakes. Not because I lack judgment. It's just because when you meet somebody, you don't know the person. You are meeting the energy, and you're just not aware of it. You like that person's energy unconsciously. Let's say you are out in a bar. There are 5 girls there in the bar. And they're beautiful, they're all beautiful, but somehow you like that one. And you want to talk to that one. How come? Because you meet the energy first. You feel that person's energy. And you start talking to her, and she's so nice, she's beautiful. But then you get to meet her, and you get to know her longer and deeper. She's just like your mother.
Energetic sympathy.
She has the same energies as your ex-girlfriend. Because we are attracted by the energies first. Because we are repeating patterns unconsciously. That is what we think is best for us.
Can we break the cycle?
Yes, we can. We can. How can we break the cycle? Anybody knows?
No, but I would like to know.
I think. Huh?
Just stay by yourself.
That's how you broke it, huh? There you go.
Get a dog.
There you get a cat, a dog, a horse, something.
I'm 82 now.
You're 82.
I couldn't have a boyfriend 15 years ago. I
You
decided,
chose to not to.
I decided to close my romantic.
Awesome. Good for you. Is it time to go? I don't even know. We passed, guys. They're giving me like the look. Roberta, we gotta go.
9:06.
I know, we gotta go. Go ahead.
I was going to say a consistent self-reflection.
Very
is
good.
helpful.
Consistent self-reflection. Observing. The ability to observe ourselves.
I don't even know what's my.
With no judgment, though.
That's
With no judgment. Because every time we judge, we fail. We cannot judge. And how do we do that? One way. Just give me one way. Through what? How?
Forgiveness.
Very good. Another way.
I would say meditation.
Meditation. Very good. Through meditation. People, you don't understand what meditation does. You only understand if you try. And please try. It's through meditation that we are able to observe ourselves and heal ourselves, because we are gods. We are divines. Thank you very much. Thank you.